Hey there, everybody. I hope you're not looking for some tableside hand histories because that's not what I'm doing this week. I planned for this vlog to be not only the tableside hand histories that most people create, but also some talking heads, if you will, where I'm breaking down some thoughts that I have about the game, especially 1-2 and 1-3, and how you can make it the most profitable you can. My goal for 2025 is to make $100 an hour or more playing 1-2 and 1-3. And I'm also going to be playing at least 1,000 hours of live poker so that can prove that it's not really a fluke. This week I'm going to be breaking down game selection. I think that is the most important decision you can make in poker, and it is usually a decision you need to make before you even sit down at the table. So I have 8 key points that I'm going to go over with you today. And then at the end I'm also going to break down where I'm at so far this year in my race to $100 an hour. So stick around and hopefully you'll get something out of this. Alright, the first thing I'm always going to be looking for in any game is the rake structure. Simply put, this is how much money is being taken off the table or how much money you have to pay in order to play poker. There are 4 different general rake structures that I've come across in all my years, and I will rank them from best to worst. The absolute best is time paid by the hour. When you are paying either before you play or after you play, the money is not actually being taken off the table. Where I play at the Barrel in Franklin, Kentucky is like this. They charge $13 an hour. I pay when I leave or I pay when I get there. The Lodge in Austin is another place that's like that. I think their rate is $11 or $12 an hour. Again, they don't take any chips off the table. Most of the social clubs that are coming up around the country have this type of business model. It's a way they can get around the gambling restriction laws that seem to be in most parts of the country. The second best is time paid by the hour, but they do take chips off the table to do it. This is very common in higher stakes games. 510 at the Bellagio is a prime example. They charge you $7 every half hour, and you just pay $7 off your stack every time there's a dealer change. The third best, or second to worst, is a regular raked game. This is where they take a percentage of the pot up to a cap. Usually in the United States, we're looking at 10% up to a $5 cap, $6 cap, although some home games can be astronomically high. There's some home games here in my Nashville area that are charging upwards of $15 in rake. So you definitely want to compare your apples to oranges to see how many dollars per hour are coming off a table. The absolute worst one is drop. That's what they use in California. That's where they take a flat dollar amount regardless of pot size out of the pot on the flop, the turn, the river. They have a set structure. If you're playing low stakes, this can be very bad for you. You could be easily having 20, 30, 50% or more of the pot taken away from you if the stakes are small enough. That's a reason people in California try to get up to the $5 blind level as quickly as possible to help mitigate how much is being taken out of the pot. I want to touch back on the third point for a moment here. That's regular rake. That's where they take a percentage up to a certain cap out of the pot. Keep in mind that when you play live Hold'em, you're averaging about 25 to 30 hands an hour depending on the types of games you're playing and your dealer competency. Now, all things being equal, everyone's going to win the same number of hands. So let's say on average there's 27 hands dealt an hour in a 9-handed game. You're going to win 3 hands an hour. So whatever the rake is, multiply that by 3, and that's what your hourly rate is to play in that game. If you happen to be in a home game that's taking $10 out of every pot for a rake and you average 3 pots an hour, that's $30 is coming off of your stack. You can see why an hourly club that only charges $13 an hour would be a lot better proposition. Another thing to keep in mind is when the hourly clubs don't take money off the table, there's more money on the table for you to win when you hit an all-in. If me and an opponent are both playing and we both have $400 on our stacks to start, and after an hour's worth of playing we've each lost $20 to the rake and we get all in, that's $20 less than I win from him because he doesn't have it on his stack. So the effective rake is not only affecting how much you can win out of each pot, it's also affecting how much you can win from your opponents. This all being said, if you can find an hourly club to play at or a home game that doesn't rake, this is by far and away the best thing you can do for your bottom line. Every dollar that's taken off the table is a dollar that's taken out of your pocket. Thing number 2 I'm always looking for in games are bomb pots. This is a thing that's come around in the last 5 to 10 years. They seem to be pretty popular. The big form that we play around here in Nashville area is PLO double board bomb pots. So every dealer change or half hour or every now and again, whatever we decide, we will stop playing Hold'em. We will play one game of PLO double board bomb pots. If you don't know what bomb pots are, there's plenty of resources out there to look them up exactly. I'm not going to give you a full rundown on what a bomb pot is and how to play them today. There's plenty of other sources out there, and maybe I'll do a video on 15-minute video on bomb pots sometime in the future. Just keep in mind that PLO double board bomb pots, people are very, very bad at them. I don't know if they don't know how to play split pot games or don't know how to play PLO or they don't know how to play both, but these games are so incredibly wild and people don't know how to play them that your win rate can be astronomical. A lot of the places I play in, the Lodge in Austin, Texas, for example, the Barrel in Franklin, Kentucky, have actually put in caps so that essentially they're protecting the players from themselves. I understand that from a business perspective. You don't want a player to go broke because then he's not paying seat rental. But people are so bad at these games, they don't know when to fold. They put their money in really, really bad. And if you know even just a little bit about bomb pots, you can make a lot of money. I truly believe that I would not be able to make $100 an hour playing 1-3 no limit if it wasn't for PLO bomb pots. It's a real easy way to nuke somebody for $300 plus in a hand. And you're just not going to get that many situations in Hold'em. Hold'em is a little more grindy, if you will. So bomb pots, learn to play them well, and your win rate will go through the roof. I guarantee it. All right, factor number 3 I'm always looking for, especially when I'm playing in the same types of card rooms every week. I get to know the same players, and I'm looking for the soft players, and I'm trying to avoid the good players. It's really that simple. I check my ego at the door. I don't have anybody to impress. You could be the 10th best player in the world and still be the worst player at your game. So you don't have to impress anybody. Just go find the bums and go hunt them down and go take their money. There's a couple of good players that are up the barrel, and I go out of my way to avoid them. And there's a couple of whales. When they walk in the door, I'm first on the list for a table change. And then once I get on that table, I'm on the list for a seat change because I want strategic position on the players that are going to increase my bankroll the most. I don't care what people think. I don't care what people say. I'm bum hunting. I'm there to make some money. I'm going to have a good time while I'm doing it, but I don't have to impress anybody by playing against the best in the room. That's not what it's about. It's about putting money in your pocket, and if there's a guy over there that's going to walk in the door and he's good for $3,000, get on his table. It's as simple as that. Number 4, and this kind of goes hand in hand with the last point, you kind of have to do a surface level assessment of unknowns. Look around the table. Obviously, there's going to be some players you've never seen before. I kind of have to do some quick judgment calls, and some are going to be right, some are going to be wrong. Look how they're stacking their chips. Look how they're handling their chips. Do they look nervous? Are they having fun? Have they been drinking? I just kind of figure out who's the sharp players and who aren't. You know a pro when you see one. You know a sharp player when you see one. And on the flip side of that, you know a rec player when you see one. Look for the players you think are going to be rec players and play at their game. Assess the game and go from there. Now, point number 5. You've gotten yourself at the table. You've got yourself a good seat. You think you've got some good people in the game that are going to help increase your bankroll. Always be on the lookout for a better table, especially if you're in a club that has more than one game available at the stakes you're playing. Just because your game is good doesn't mean there's not a better game out there. Now, sometimes there's 4 or 5 games and they all pretty much look the same. Then I'll stay where I'm at because I will have built reads up on people. I've kind of got a good feel for the dynamic of the table I'm at. Now, if a bona fide A+ whale walks in the door, then I'll put my name on the list for a seat change. But if I'm not in a very good game, there's 4 or 5 good players there, and I'm not necessarily talking about pros, but just people that don't make a lot of mistakes. You don't need to really be at that game if you can get on the list for a different one. There's so many bad players at these micro stakes levels that you don't need to sit there even with 3 or 4 people that know what they're doing. You can easily find a table where you're the only person there that really has any business at the table. Number 6, promos. Now in home games, these are kind of more of amenities than promos. Like if you're at a home game, are they offering you free drinks? Are they offering you free food, dinner, stuff along those lines? Now free drinks for me means soda. I don't drink when I play, and I recommend you don't either. You're there to make money, keep your head on straight, let the other people have the good time and get drunk. You're there to make some money. When you're in a club or in a casino, the promos are more like high hand jackpots, bad beat jackpots, hand of the day, stuff like that. How are they being paid for? Is there a special promo drop, or is it just being taken out of the rake? In most places, it's only $1 or $2, so it's really negligible. The promos I really like to go for are more ones that are easier to hit, lower variance. Like I really could not care less about a $100,000 bad beat jackpot. The Lodge currently has one that's over $250,000, and it hasn't hit, as far as I know, since they put it in place middle of last year. There's a reason for that. It's very difficult to do, so that's promo drop money is probably going away, never to be seen again, unless you happen to be literally in the right place at the right time. Now, if there's something like a high hand of the day or high hand of the hour, or there's a place at the barrel right now, they're running, if you flop a set with pocket aces, you win $100. And if you end up making a full house out of it by the river, you make $200. That's something that's a little more easy to do. It's likely to happen. If you put in some hours, you probably will have it happen once or twice during the month. So that's something a little less variance, and I think that's money in your pocket. So promos are something to keep in mind. They're not a big boost to EV, but they are something you should keep in mind. These last two items I'm going to talk about are more intangibles. The first one is game safety. Applies more to home games than anything else. A game can be great. You can win $5,000, but are you going to be able to get home with the money? It sounds like a ridiculous question sometimes, but you just never know. Is the game being run on a book, or are they paying with cash? Is the game runner going to be able to pay you if they're keeping people on a book? There's nothing worse than having a great night at the table and then you go to cash out and you have to figure out where the money's coming from. Kind of defeats the whole purpose. There's also some people, if they get a little drunk, they might get a little violent. They're emotionally attached to their money, so to say. So, just keep your head on a swivel. Make sure that the game you're in is safe and you can get home safe with your money. Now, this last thing I want to talk about, point number 8, is energy. And this is much more of an intangible than any of the others, and some people might think I'm off my rocker on this, but I swear by it. Sometimes you're just in a place that doesn't feel good. There's a game I go to, or let me say that again, a game I used to go to. I don't really go to it anymore because I realize that I'm just not winning as much there as I am at other places, and that's simply because I'm not happy being there. I don't like many of the players. It's just a bad energy in the place. The game drags slowly because there's lots of alcohol and drugs going on. I'm not trying to be around that. I want to go to play some cards and have a good time. Poker's a game. Games are supposed to be fun. If I'm not having fun, I probably shouldn't be there. Some people just bring that negative, bad, dark energy to a game. It's hard to put your finger on it. It's not necessarily karma, but it's definitely just something in the air and you can feel it. And I firmly believe that can affect your win rate. So go to places where you feel comfortable, where you're having a good time. Obviously, if you've lost a few buy-ins, you're probably not going to be walking out of there whistling, but at least you had a good time and you're feeling like, you gave it a good shot. So energy in the air is something definitely to keep your mind focused on when you're playing. All right, so those are 8 main bullet points I'm looking for when I'm trying to select a game to play in. I have my regular rotation of games I play in. I've kind of found the ones I like on the days of the week I have available. But those are always subject to change. You never know when a better game is going to come down the road or when a good game could go bad. Lastly, I'm going to talk about my numbers for the first half of this month, which I'm going to put right up here. I'm up $4,085 in just over 40 hours of play, so that's averaging out to just over $102 an hour. I was not doing very well the first half of the month, only averaging about $20 an hour, but this last session I played, I won $2,815. A large chunk of it did come from bomb pots, and the other chunk of it came because I went bum hunting. I was sitting at a table. They opened a second game. I saw a couple of VIPs there. I instantly did a table change, got over there, got a good seat, and was able to collect from some people that were ready to melt off their stacks. So overall, it was a very profitable night, and it put my win rate up over $100 an hour, which is what we're shooting for. I plan to do updates like this every couple of weeks, talking about some stuff that's on my mind, about tips and tricks of poker, and also give you updates on where I'm running for the year. I hope you like what you saw tonight. If you did, please give it a like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next week.